Disruptions around Maponya Mall today have come at a cost to both commuters and businesses, with residents looking to block operations at the mall for 7 days. Further disruptions is said to have an impact on Maponya Mall and surrounding businesses. NEFCOC Soweto Business Chamber Treasurer Khotso Molaba joins us now. Khotso, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Can you perhaps scale for us what the impact of a shutdown would be on the local businesses, particularly those in and around the mall?
Good evening to you. Firstly, we would be amiss in not passing our condolences as a formation to the family of Sianda Mbelase. I apologize. Maybe first, just to give a bit of context, we are the Soweto Business Chamber. We are a brainchild of NEFCOC, formed in 1987. We are a policy lobby group. We do business development, and we advocate for Black unity, particularly within the sectors, in townships, representing businesses within Soweto and surrounding areas. Just to give context to where we are currently, and in condemning this violence and advocating that the law must take effect to whatever extent it needs to go, the safety and security of Soweto residents, it is very much primary. And without this being put in place, Soweto is actually in danger of actually then growing out of whatever Soweto is going through, and it will spill over to other areas. The context in which we find ourselves while condemning the violence is that township enterprises have been marginalized for the longest of times. We find ourselves in depressed communities that for decades have found themselves on the fringes and are looked at as the unwanted stepchild, only used for hard labor as well as menial jobs. So unfortunately, in this particular context, we find that coming to the economic activity of Soweto, Sowetans have no say at all as to what their economic activity is. And within the context of this depression, we find that all businesses that are currently trying to find themselves, including the transport sector, find themselves operating in a space where unfortunately there is regulation that is stacked against them, or lack of regulations, particularly when it comes to other aspects where big business stands to benefit and gain. See, unfortunately,
so what is the alternative? Khotso, what does the alternative look like then?
The alternative. Currently, we are in a process where government, or the Gauteng government, has come up with a legislation that speaks to previously disadvantaged communities, that speaks to depressed communities in the form of the TIDA legislation. And that was a step in the right direction. But even before this baby started walking or crawling, the baby is being amended. And in its amendment, it is pitting the businesses of Soweto against big business. It is putting us at the same level as foreign-owned entities. So unfortunately, instead of redress, we are looking at how do we then fight for...
But Khotso, just to draw back a little bit, the shutdown is not a government-imposed shutdown, it's a community-imposed shutdown, and it's a community that decided businesses here for the next 7 days will not operate. It seems to be a decision made outside of this policy framework. Perhaps then explain to me what you think the alternative could have and should look like to safeguard vulnerable businesses, township enterprises in particular.
See, divorcing government intervention from these processes becomes a bit of a fallacy. If we speak of regulation, we speak of small businesses within Soweto. And if you're going to say that these businesses have different compliance from big business that they're now forced to compete with, in a market that at least about 100 billion rand per annum, yet the rand in Soweto circulate once, becomes where the fallacy lies. Government has a responsibility that it regulates, particularly within the township spaces where most of the South Africans residents live, regulates that the economic activity ensures that the rand circulates
Okay,
within
just
these
more
spaces.
pointedly, Khotso, just more pointedly, because I don't want us to get lost of the point here. When you ask and you call for government intervention, specifically in the context of what we're speaking about right now, are you then asking that government overturn what would be the community-imposed 7-day shutdown of those businesses? Are you asking government to overpower the community and say, no, you can't unilaterally shut down these businesses, they must operate? Is that the sort of intervention you're calling for?
No. Communities have the right to protest. And this protest is based on the fact that consumers have the right to choose any service they prefer to choose, whether it be taxis, whether it be e-hailing services. But what we're talking about with government intervention is we are currently treating the symptoms of the problem. We're not treating the problem itself. As put, again, Soweto is 100 billion rand per annum minimum economy. The rand in Soweto circulates once. Soweto is depressed because the interventions that come through are just tick box exercises. Apart from tick box exercises whereby you will have compliance workshops and the likes, there is no meaningful contribution to growing the businesses within Soweto so that they can be meaningful participants within the space. Now, once you can get that right, you ensure that the economy of Soweto is flowing, and you are ensuring that the communities are not depressed, because depressed communities are violent communities. This is just an outcry of what is taking place in the background, in that being depressed, everybody is fighting for the small cent. And David is literally fighting against Goliath, where big business is coming into Soweto, is not making any impact, and is just withdrawing. Soweto is seen as a cash cow whereby everybody comes and withdraws. And this should not be the case. Yeah. That's why we need government intervention. I usually make a stupid example of saying Vodacom, MTN, Cell C, and the likes don't even have a call center in Soweto, whereby we are per capita probably the most populous of townships. Apart from being the most populous, most of their users based in those areas have to travel to places like Midrand and go and work taking double transport. So they're working literally for transportation, as opposed to saying, how do we bring closer to our people the facilities that we have? We ensure that the economy is stabilized and that they have meaningful participation in the economy.
Okay, Khotso, we're going to have to leave it there. I really do appreciate it. Khotso Molaba is the treasurer, the chamber treasurer rather, of the Soweto Business Chamber, born out of NAFCOC.